All right, so I'm picking up where I left off, and I'm going to set up the geometry swapping, and I'll do that using geometry nodes. There is already a layer called geometry nodes. I'm going to click that up here, and that's going to make it easier to work. And then I want to make sure that I add it to the actual ball geometry. That's this one here. So I'll make sure I select that and hit new. And then it's added a new geometry nodes modifier here, which I'm going to change to override the display of this geometry to use one of our balls from our collection here. This seems really scary, and I am by no means a geometry nodes expert, and even I can do it. So there's actually a few ways that we can do it. The way that I'm going to do it is to create a point at this origin point here, and then use an instance on point to choose one of these balls and create an instance of it at that location. So let's start setting that up. First of all, we need an instance on point. So let's go instance on points, and I can click this in here and things will disappear, but we're not going to worry about that. I just can disconnect the input. We will use it in just a moment. The next thing that we actually need is a point. So I'm going to create that. Shift A and choose point. And we just want one single point. So I'm going to choose points here. There we go. The count is going to be 1. I can just plug that straight in because our position is 0, 0, 0. That's exactly what we want. That's going to be a point at the origin here. And now we need to feed it an instance. So I'll collapse that down so we've got some room. So we're going to choose an instance from our collection that is going to be under the input scene collection info. And if you forget where it is, you can just use the search and just type collection. And you can see here, it's an input scene collection info. That's the one that we want here. Awesome. So what's collection that we want to choose from? We want to choose from the utility collection. And then we're going to plug this in. It's not going to work just yet. We need to enable separate children. It's now creating an instance on that point that we created, but we want to reset the children so that it's in the correct location. We also want to choose one of the objects in that collection rather than showing all of them at once. We do that by enabling pick instance. And of course, by default, it's just going to choose the first one on our list here. Wouldn't it be nice if we could tell it which instance to use? Well, we can with this instance index here. So what I'm going to do is add an input socket on our group input here and then plug it in. And that way we can control it with a setting that's on our modifier over here. So I'll select it. I'll hit N to bring this up. And you can see under the group sockets, we have geometry with the dot on the right. That is the output. And then we have the geometry with the dot on the left. That is our input. We're going to create a new input just with this button here. I'm going to say input, and then we can decide what this is going to be. We're going to change the type over to be integer, so we get whole numbers only. And that's all that we need to do. We can plug this socket in to our instance index, and then when we change this, it'll choose the instance for us. Of course, it's going to cycle around, so we actually only have 8 objects, but this can go off into practically infinity. We will deal with that in a moment. But the next thing we want to do is give it a proper name so that when we come back, it makes sense to us. So just double click on this one here. Let's give it a good name. Instance index, and then we can add a driver on our rig to control this here so that the animator is using the rig, the armature, to control it rather than the actual modifier here. So we'll do that in the next step. So I'll do that over in the layout tab. So now we need to stick this property somewhere on our rig. Now you might be thinking that putting it on the body bone would be kind of helpful for the animators because it's right there, and if we want to change the ball type, we're just actually already animating the ball. However, this is not something that the animator is going to change all that often. So having it on the actual body bone is probably going to get in their way, as it's going to add extra information into the graph editor when they don't need to change it all that often. So I'm going to stick it on the root bone. That way the animator still has access to it, but it's not something that they're going to use all that often. It's not going to get in their way as often. So that's my reasoning for sticking it on the root control. So I'm going to jump over into the bone tab, and down the bottom we can see custom properties. I'm going to click new, then open it up to edit it. The first thing we want to change is the type. We're going to make it an integer, so we have whole numbers rather than a decimal point. The property name, let's just call it ball underscore type. Now with our default value, I'm going to leave that on 1, but with our minimum and our maximum, the computers love to start counting at 0. So that means our first item will be 0 and our last item will be number 7. However, humans, we don't usually count that way. We like to start at number 1, and then the last one will be number 8. But if I change it like this, that means that our ball type is going to be one item out of sync. So that just means when we add our driver, we just have to offset it by one place and it's going to match up perfectly. Don't worry if that doesn't make sense now, it will in just a moment. So the next thing I want to do is add a description, let's say ball type. And I do want to make sure that we enable library overridable. That way, when this is linked into a new file for animation, this property that we added can be changed by the animator. If we don't enable this, this property will be there, but they won't be able to animate it at all. So we do need to make sure that we enable that and then click OK. So there's our new property. I'm going to right click on this and say copy as new driver, and then select our geometry. And over on our modifier, I want to paste it into this index. So right click and say paste driver. However, you notice the ball type has changed. And if we click on our rip bone, you'll see that the first item on our list is the second one. And the last one is actually the first because it got to the end and then it started counting back at the start. So let's get that back in sync. It's really easy to do. I'm just going to right click on that driver and say open drivers editor. So we've got this one here. I'm going to select our driver and then change it from being an average value over to a scripted expression. So this variable down here is what's listed up in the expression here. These match. So we just want to subtract 1 from this, then hit enter, and we can close that down. And now the ball type 1 is going to be the first item on the list, and the last one is going to be the last item on the list. So we've just made that match. So now let's add a UI script so that we can easily turn on and off our bone collections, as well as get access to the ball type without always having to select the root control again. So already included in the file, I have this script called ball UI, and this will run a simple UI script with a few buttons, and it's going to work for us as long as there's a few conditions met. And one of those is that these names of our collections need to match what I have here. So the root collection needs to be called root with the same capitalization. We need to have a main collection, a stretch, and a spin. And here is our property, the ball type property that lives on the root bone. So one of the conditions is that these collections and the property need to be spelt exactly the same as it is in this script here. And the other thing that we need is we need a property to match what I've got up here. And that property is called rig ID, and it is going to be a string called ball rig. So if we attach a string property to our armature and it matches what we have here, then when we run this script, and then we'll get a UI show up. So let's add this property to our rig here. I want to do that on the data tab, which is the green stick man. Down the bottom, we have custom properties. I'm going to click on that and then take note of what it says at the moment. It says 1.0. That will come back to haunt us in a moment. So I'm going to click on this to edit it. I want to change this to be a string, and then the property name needs to match what I have in my script, which is rig underscore ID, all in lowercase. And then the default value is going to be ball underscore rig. We don't want this one to be overridable because we want this to stay static. We don't want anyone to change this. So I'm going to click OK. And here's where that 1.0 has come back to haunt us. So we changed our property, but it didn't change the value that it was set to. So I'm just going to hover and push backspace, and it's going to reset it to the default value. And then instantly you saw our UI script pop up here, which is excellent. So we can change our ball type from here, and we can turn on and off the layers that we will and won't need at any specific time. Now, if you're wondering why this instantly showed up, that is because over in our scripting tab, under text, we have this script set to register, which means when we open our file, this is automatically going to run, but it didn't work straight away because our armature didn't have this property attached to it. But as soon as we set that up, it automatically ran. If it doesn't automatically run for us, we can just click the play button, and that will make sure that this script runs. So one other thing that we're going to do with that script is we need to make sure that it is attached to our rig so that if we happen to append this or link this into another file for animation, that script comes along with it. In older versions of Blender, that was a little bit of a pain in the butt to do, but in newer versions of Blender, it's quite easy. We're just going to click on new here. We're still in the object data, and then we're going to open this up, and then we're going to change it from a float over to be a data block. I'm going to give it a name. Let's just call this the UI script. And then the ID type, we're going to choose text, and then we can click OK. So here is our property, and now we can attach our text data block. So when we click on this, we get access to all the texts in our file, and thankfully there's only one, so we can just click on that. And now whenever we link or we append this rig into another file, our script is going to come with it. Awesome. So there's only a few more tidy up things to do. We're going to turn off our in front. We're going to turn off our bone names. We're going to turn off our axes to tidy up our viewport. I don't want to be able to select our mesh anymore because that's going to become annoying for an animator. So we're going to go over to our filters, turn on our selectability, and then disable it on our Geo collection. We might as well go ahead and disable it on our util collection as well. And now, one last thing, I want to put this in 2 spots because right now it's hidden away in its own tidy little collection, but it is harder for the animators to find. So let's put this in 2 spots. So over in the object tab, let's go to collections, and I need to be in object mode. Click add to collection and then choose the master collection, which is ball. Now you'll see that we have that same rig in 2 places. It's not a copy, it's a link to the same data. It's nice and easy for the animators to find. So now that you have a finished rig, it would be amiss of me to not show you how to link it into a new file for animation. So that's what I'm going to do now. So we don't actually do it from this file, we do it from a brand new file. So I'm going to go File, New, just choose General, and then I'll just delete everything that's in here already. And I'm going to save my file before I do anything else. That's going to make the next step a little bit faster. Let's go File, Save As. That will bring up the same folder that I'm already working in. And I'm going to call that Rig Link Test. And hit enter. And now I'll go File, Link. It will open up where you already are. Now I'm going to navigate to my finished file, which is the one that I've called end, because that's the end of the tutorial. And then inside that, we go to collection, and we want to grab the master collection, which is the one that we put in all capital letters. And then I click link. Now, once we have that in here, we just need to do one more thing so that we can animate it, and that is to create a library override. The easiest way of doing that is hitting F3 and then type in override, make library override, the first one there. And now you'll see we can actually animate this and we have our script automatically running as well. Awesome. So that's it. Give yourself a pat on the back because you have finished your rig. Well done. So what's next? I want you to upload your work, please, so that I can check it out. But if you're looking for more of a challenge, I'm going to issue you with an extension project. At the moment, we have 8 balls in the selection that we can choose from. I want you to kind of think about, this is only if you want to extend your knowledge. If you want to add an extra ball or you want to edit what's there, what would you need to do in order to make that happen? All right, all the information's inside that course. It's for you to think about and go, oh, I would need to change this. That's going to extend your thinking. But what you have at the moment is almost exactly the same as the bouncing ball rig that we use in the animation courses. There's only one other extra bit that isn't included in this project, and that is the warp controller. So if you're looking for another extension type project, you can look at that multi-ball rig download and kind of see how I've added the warp control in there and see if you can add it to this rig. Bear in mind that is a little bit more advanced than just adding extra balls, but that's if you want to push yourself above and beyond. But that's it. I hope you learned a lot from this mini project and I look forward to seeing your work. So upload it.